All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Madrid from the Mr. Madrid Show, and today we are on episode 45 with the title Real Men, Real Talk. This is part 4 of this installment that we have going on every first Thursday of the month, and it's very important to me, very near and dear, because it's conversations that we typically don't have out in the open. And I know that typically conversations like this are had more in private, if you will. So I just wanted to welcome on different guests who are willing to come on, be vulnerable, and kind of talk about what it is to be a man and their ideology of what society sees it as versus what it should be or what they see it as. So today we have Pablo, who has been a recurring guest on the show and on this installment of Real Men, Real Talk. And then we have somebody brand new on the show. He goes by the name of Ed. Ed, what's up? Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people who Ed is.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me, for sure. What can I say, man? Ed, Dominican from Washington Heights, Afro-Latino. You know, I've been an educator for most of my life. I mean, still am. I made the transition from teacher to school guidance counselor, but I'm also on a mental health counselor journey as well. So I do that on the weekends. And eventually I'm trying to make that transition probably my full time as I start to grow in the craft and, getting my certs and everything together and that nature, man. But yeah, that's
Okay.
me in a nutshell.
Cool. And real quick, man, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I'm pretty sure how old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
46.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I know I have, growing up in Washington Heights and walking through Broadway when you used to get harassed to be sold drugs. I know I used to be like, because everybody thought that I wasn't, not everybody, but people that didn't know me thought I was regular, like black or African American.
African American.
And so
Yeah.
they used to try to sell me drugs up the block all the time. So it was funny. I thought because you look like you would be mistaken for African American as well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, Washington Heights is heavy colorism. You know, I used to, I used to not have the words to express it. When I used to talk to people, I used to be like, yo, my people be the most racist because I used to feel it towards me until I was able to really place what it was. And then it was also like, my bop is different. Like it's not like they haven't seen somebody my color be Dominican or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I'm very influenced by the hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? That's me. Hip hop is me. You know what I mean? That's part of my whole essence.
Yeah.
So I had to start giving a little grace with that. I wasn't the Papi Shampoo nigga. You know what I mean? I wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? I just throw that shit on or whatever have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even got the accent. You know what I mean? So
People tell me that I have an accent. I don't hear it, but people tell me that I have
Yeah.
an accent.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
recently told,
people
like,
tell me every now and then.
in the middle of a
But
conversation at work, somebody like pinged me on the side and was like, "Where's your accent from?" And you can't get the hoodness out. I'm like, what kind of question is that, man? Don't be asking me where my accent is. Where's your accent from? But
that's
yeah,
crazy.
man, but it's awesome to have, two other folks on here that are also from Washington Heights. We come from a similar walk of life. We can relate to certain things a little bit more than, your average Joe Schmo. So I appreciate both of you for being on the show today. Means a lot. First question that I'm gonna ask you guys, and there's no real order, and then we can go on from there. But what does being a man mean today in 2026?
What is a man in 2026? That's the question?
Yep. What does it be?
Or
What does
just
it mean
or
to
just
be
my
a
definition
man?
of it? Well, I think, many people probably have their different perspectives or whatnot. I think as a man, you should be able to provide, right? You should be able to be real to yourself, right? And I feel like I know coming up, it looked and was spoken about differently, right? Like we had this way that we had to be, this super tough, you know, like not being vulnerable, not being able to, express feelings. But I think things have kind of changed for the better a little bit. I think I think some men don't, some are trapped in that old way of thinking. But I think as you start to get older, I know for me, so I start to get older, I'm like super okay with my emotions coming out. I mean,
Mm,
I don't think less of myself, dog, you put the right music in the movie, and it's over. It's curtains for me. You know what I'm saying? During the movie, you know what I mean? And I used to be like, damn, like now it's just my wife know everything. It's like that, but I know back in the past I was frowned upon, right? So I feel like just being confident in yourself, knowing yourself, and knowing that it's okay to feel are all part of being a man now. And I got kids too. So it's like at the end of the day, I they copy more than they listen, you know?
Right.
And I've always said to my son, I'm not gonna put that same obscene pressure on him to be this, whatever, whatever. I am gonna tell him there's certain times where you have to, man up, toughen up, whatever have you, whatever that is. But it's also okay to be scared. It's also okay to feel whatever you feel, That's part of the journey. Get through it. It's okay. However you got to get through it, get through it. It's okay. Don't feel like you have to portray or fake it for anybody.
Right.
And I think like as you get older, it starts like it's so comforting. It's like it's a freedom for me personally to finally get to that stage where it's like I really don't care about what other people think about me and everything like that. It's like it's in your 40s. I think you start getting that I don't give a, you know what I mean? So I just think to make a long story less long, just being able to provide, being able to own up to things, being able to be, you got to be a jack of all trades, especially if you're like got a family and everything like that going on.
Right.
Absolutely. For me, let me just take a couple of things that he mentioned as far as being vulnerable. That's something that I have been sort of developing, but I've been developing it with my wife, friends, and not to say that I wouldn't be emotional in front of others, but others don't understand or haven't reached that level of vulnerability and would tend to sort of mock it, which would then create tension, which would then create problems. You know what I'm saying?
Kindness or weakness.
Yeah, yeah. So I try to show my vulnerability with the people that matter most, and and for certain won't judge me in that moment of vulnerability, right? Because then there can be a mix of emotions when so many emotions are colliding, you know. And the other thing is, for me, being out of work for the time that I've been out of work, I spent a lot of time with my kids. And for me, it's been one of the most satisfying experiences because, like, again, my father was around, but he wasn't around. He'd come home from work, he'd be in the sofa chilling, watching baseball. There wasn't a lot of interaction. There wasn't a lot of Joe Jackson energy outside of the be quiet. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We didn't
Yeah.
get the Joe Jackson that motivated us to be baseball players or whatever it is that we were into. And when I was working at it, when I was working a lot, that habit or that what you learned growing up takes over you without you even knowing. And so the relationships that I was having with wife and my kids were very like they were timed. You know what I'm saying? They were like, I got a half hour, I got an hour. And it's like on the weekends, you have your hobbies and things that you want to do. There's a lot of sacrificing, but the time that I've had now and be working, the time that I spent with them has opened my eyes to what the relationship can be when I'm there and listening and asking questions and being patient, and having a discussion to sort of understand them and where they're coming from because they're new to this. A lot of it they are, and we've been through it. And so I grew up not having the parents that were patient enough to sit with me and explain stuff with me and ask me questions. And it was never like that. But for me, it has been like that. And because of it, my relationship, I would say they blossomed. It certainly brings a lot of hesitancy when the thought of going back to work, right? And having to miss out on that time. But I also see it as now the time that I do get with them, I'll have to make the best of it and make them as memorable as I can each moment that I'm with them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the sort of balance that I'm trying to strike.
Make it count.
Powerful, powerful. I would say what a man is today, it really what dictates that is a mixture of things, right? We have our own idea depending on if you were raised by a man or not, right? That's one thing. So for me, I wasn't raised by a man, so I have a lot more feminine traits that I have to keep on check, right? And no shots at anybody out there, but I'm just saying it because I can tend to be a little bit more emotional because that's what I saw growing up. But then I also saw a mother that was very strong and had her own like macho-ness to herself. So I learned a different side of that too. And then the other thing, the other aspect of it that I would say is what dictates is the experiences of the household, of what's needed from my wife, what's needed from my kids. And this all comes from how I guide the family, how I am the head of household and how I choose to maneuver through the world and how I choose to lead my family through the world as well. So it's a tough question, right? Like, what is a man today? I think what a well-rounded well, number one would be a well-rounded man, a man that takes care of his family, a man that goes out there and gets, gets things done, and a man that can be fluid also, that isn't one way all the time, that can be understanding, that can be vulnerable with his family and with people that he loves, and that can also be firm, right? And have a sense of order. And as we go along with this, like I'll give you a little bit of insight when I talk about order is being that I came from a household where it was just mom as the head of household. I always felt like there was people that would come in and out of our home, and did whatever they wanted, would leave a mess, and we were left to either clean it up or just with that trauma. So for me, I'm very overprotective, and I put up that boundary of like there's things that I will accept and things that I won't. So I think it's about that also, about creating a safe place for your family and knowing who to let in your home and who not to. And I'm very picky on that as well. So hopefully that kind of answers that question too. And then I'm gonna segue over to this because I think it's very powerful to kind of share it with one another. Is like, who do you guys feel like checks in on you? Like we have the
Mm.
world, the weight of the world on our shoulders. So who really like picks up the phone? Who do you feel is that person for you guys? Do you have that person?
Me, I have my wife. You know, she's number one because she's my partner in crime, and I've said it. I think I've said it on the show before. She's my Claire Huxtable.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
She's the one that yeah, she's the one that I go to first. And when she's busy, because I know she has her own things too, you know what I'm saying? And I can't bombard her with my stuff. I got to be there for her. Like, I do have the specific individuals that I go to when I need to just simply talk to somebody. And Madrid has been one of those. And my best friend since childhood, Madrid knows him as well, Ralph. You know, those are the people that you turn to people for different things.
Right.
Right? There's certain things you wouldn't come to your wife with. There's certain things you wouldn't come to your best friend with. There's certain things you would come to your brother with. I have, I guess, that support system or those ears that would lend me that time for me to vent and explore whatever situation is occurring.
For me, that's one of the. I ain't gonna lie. It's one of the things I struggle with. Bro. Not that I don't have willing people, and I think that's why I'm getting into this whole mental health thing. It's like the whole therapist situation because it's funny. Like whoever I tell that to, for them it's like it makes sense, right? Because I've been that for like the majority of the people that I'm around. That's the relationship. Is like I'm the one, the point person to a certain degree. And I got my wife as well, and she when I let her in, it's helpful, right? And things of that nature. But a lot of times, I don't want to. If she's stressing, I don't want to make her look like I'm stressing. I'm the one that's trying to keep it. So I may go to somebody differently because I don't want her to trip. I want to, because I may be tripping in my mind. I'm like, oh, I gotta get this shit right. You know what I'm saying? I don't need this whole household. I got it from college. That man, like that friendship. My boy Fife. It's a real no judgment zone type situation. But I'm like I said, I struggle with like if I don't have to, I won't. But I'll be all ears for the next person. You know what I'm saying? And a couple
Right.
of times, I'm not even gonna lie. Like earlier in the year, I got emotional a couple of times when I was actually asked because that's the thing. I don't get asked a lot. So when somebody actually asked, like wholeheartedly, and actually was like, "Yo, you always checking on people." yo, you all right? I legit
Right.
surprisingly got caught up. Cause then when I slowed down, I'm like, yo, I'm actually going through some shit, right? I got my daughter and she has her challenges that I'm just on go for her and everything like that. Cause at the end of the day, like Dane has to be here, but it's like I gotta show and prove for her and my son and everything like that, whatever. So I'm just on go all the time. But that when they ask you questions like that, it's scary because you have to stop and think, okay, boom, and register, and then speak about it. And a couple of times, like maybe 2 or 3 times I got asked, I'm like, yo, excuse me. I spoke. I got through it. I didn't shade away from it. I was able to speak about it, but I definitely got choked up first because it's very rare that I get asked.
I think we're gonna dig into that, and it's not gonna be, it's not meant to be an Oprah moment, but I think it's important because, and I told you offline,
Are you
Ed,
good?
but I shared with people, like I put out a post, and it was a clip from my previous episode with my homegirl, Pastor Vivian, where I'm talking about, like, I was sitting down on the couch, I had my wife next to me and my daughter, and I was watching a video of myself, right? And it was me opening up the banner to my bounce house company, right? And I just broke down because it's similar to what you're saying, like who checks in on you, right? But then again, like who roots for you, who really you have on your corner that besides your wife, right? We're gonna give kudos to the
Yeah,
wife. We love our wives, so that's
yeah,
very
hundred
important. But I'm
percent.
saying outside of that world, who's in the bleachers, rooting for you, wanting to see you win. And when I really thought about it, I'm like, yo, it's so lonely, bro. And the reason that I broke down and allowed myself to just be in the moment of I'm gonna let these tears out was that I'm still pushing through that. I'm still pushing through, I know nobody, whether they are silently or whatever it is, I'm in this journey on my own, right? Wife included. Now, again, in case they're watching, like, we're not saying you guys,
Yeah,
we appreciate
don't
that.
get
And
in
that's
the hot seat,
probably,
son.
yeah, don't get it twisted. But that's probably what fuels us enough to get up off our asses and make the moves that we need to make. But what I'm saying is really understand, like, who's there for you, who's rooting for you, who wants to see you win. And when I saw myself just, watching a video of me unraveling and being so happy and full of life, I'm like, yo, you know what? Like, I'm proud of you, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of myself for taking the leap of faith and being, I'm a big man of faith, and I believe in God and I pray constantly. And I just, I'm happy with the man that I am. And I think it takes a lot to just pursue something that you feel in your stomach, bro. That you just like, yo, I want to make this move. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. And then the one person you tell, happens to put you down, and you still go after it. Y te está yendo bien.
Mhm,
It's going all right. That to
mhm.
me was a moment of like, yo, like, you know what I mean? And that's even more powerful because I'm like, my son, my daughter, my wife is never gonna feel this because I'm gonna always fuel their fire. I'm gonna always be that source, and I'm thankful for the relationship that I've built with Pablo. Like me and Pablo met almost a year ago, almost,
Yeah.
and we're building this brotherhood that we don't there's we don't ask each other for anything but time to shoot the breeze. And I think that's important, bro, because like, for whatever it is, and I really, Pablo, like, and I'm saying this out in the episode, I don't think I've ever really had that. Like, I've had a friend from childhood that we used to shoot the breeze, but it was just because we had nowhere else to go. Like, he came downstairs, I went upstairs, we hung out. But just, there's no interest there other than like, yo, I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy breaking bread or just having a convo and just expressing myself. And then we share similar interests, which is our podcasts. And then he's been on like and things like that. So I appreciate relationships like that because I didn't know how to even have those relationships. And Ed, maybe you could relate to that a little bit, where it's like you don't really have somewhere to go to. You don't really, like, how do I even begin to tell somebody how I feel or how to accept that you even give a shit?
I'll be honest with you though. This is the conundrum with me. And yo, thanks for sharing, man. That's really dope. But just to even the point, I was thinking about this the other day. So many thoughts as you were speaking. But Yeah, the friendships that you're making now, the joint that you're making with Pop, oh, that's priceless. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, yo, when you choose your family, opposed to your family being your family because of blood, that's a lot of times that's stronger. You understand what I'm saying? So I just wanted to touch on that point, man. And I don't think that you're gonna take that friendship or anything for granted, but I just wanted to point that out. But the thing is, yo, I got a dope ass family, bro. Like my family is super huge, right? So I got like I can't even give you a number, but it's somewhere like the last number I remember hearing throughout the whole thing was like 67, 68, or whatever. Like as like you got to break them down. It's almost like different like clans, right? Like different years of where you
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
I came up with the best clan. Like our years is like 1 year apart, 2 years apart, and my family. But it was like my family was crazy, dogs, because it was like half drug dealers, half educators. It was like you had the best of like
You
it
gonna
was
get
yo. It was so
schooled
much
either
depth.
way. Either way, there was gonna be some schooling.
Either way, son, and even the educators are moving like they know how to move, and you know how to move because
Yeah.
and you have the judges that yo they can have intellectual conversations with you. Like it's like they got so much depth. Like my cousins got wild depth. So then there's certain people. It's like Pablo said earlier. You go to people to different heads for different things. You know what I mean? And I got a tight ass bond with a lot of my cousins. But as you know, like life, the way life is, people move and everything like that. But we still like in group chats and everything like that. So, but still, I have people to talk to. But it was to your question, how many just ask you how you doing? And the slight difference. I know they're there, and I've gone to them. I've been like, yo, you know what? I gotta get this shit off. Yo, BT, yo, listen. And you go to the person that best, that's gonna tell you what it is, and know how to tell you or do. You got different things for different people or whatever. But yeah, yo, I mean, I listen. It's this conversation just opens up so many like doors and pop so many in my brain. So I'm trying not to over talk. So pardon me,
Oh, it's all
It's
good.
but
all
It's all
good.
good.
it's
What
powerful,
what
man. It's
what does
powerful,
that for
powerful,
you?
powerful stuff.
What does that for you though, Ed? Like, what do you think? Going back a little bit, what has made you feel like you because you're that source mostly where you're checking in on others, what makes you feel that you might not like, do you feel like it's a bother? Like if you reach out to somebody and you unload your pause, you unload your emotions, like do you think that do you think that's a burden on somebody else?
100%. You know what's crazy? This came out therapy where I'm the dude that let's say me and you we cool, we whatever, or but if I like call you or if I feel like I feel like I'm reaching out or whatever,
Yeah.
not too much with because I've learned not to take things personal. I want to tell y'all about this book that got me on some different shit. But like at my origin, I do not like to be a burden by no way, shape, or form. The second you make me feel like any type of way, it's a dub. Like I'm like, yo, nah, I'm okay, I'm cool. Like the second that like, and I had to get better at that because a lot of times people like, yo, it wasn't even like that. It was whatever. But I just never, my family didn't like to be a burden on people. So I definitely wasn't about to be a burden on people. And then even when my dealings with women and everything like that, as soon as like I'm feeling there's a little too much effort coming my way, I'm like, nah, I'm cool. And it was more, not that I didn't want to, but it was that vulnerable piece. I didn't want to be needy. I didn't want to be whatever. And it's almost like I was almost being too hard on myself. It's like, dog, you all right. But that's in retrospect.
Right.
Just coming up, it was like I had this pride and this ego, bro, that it was too much. It was too much. I was always cool. I was always social. I was always this extrovert, whatever. But the second I felt like I'm reaching out too much, you're not giving me some type of rapport, whatever relationship may be,
The same
I was
vibration.
done. Yeah, yeah. But then I had to learn, like, and again, there was this book that I read. It's called The Four Agreements. It's a life altering book, bro. It's like it's just amazing because we put so much in. We make agreements that we never had a choice to whether accept it or not. Like the way we came up, our parents, our upbringing, our people that we was with. they gave us agreements that we just rolled with. It's not until you get older to be like, wait a minute, that's not necessarily, I don't have to go about this way. This is how they went about it this way. This was like their experience. This is whatever. So one of the agreements that like stood out to me, and I live it to this day, every now and then I'll pop it in just to hear the audio. I'll even put the audio to it, is don't take things personal. Don't take anything personal. Somebody talk about, like you had said something earlier. I forgot you had said something earlier, Madrid. You said something. But I was like, oh, it was
I
Pablo.
think it had
It was Pablo. I think it was you, Pablo, but you was just like, where certain people look at you a certain type of way and everything like that, or the turn because of the way they
yes.
misinterpret it. Yes. So it was like, dog, and after reading this book, it's like, yo, you know that had nothing to do with you and had everything to do with them. It was their insecurities that you done woke up. It's them that's trying to put you down to their level. Or, like, that's just how sometimes people roll. If they see you at a different energy or you rocking whatever because you're confident, because they wouldn't do it, it's like, so that's not you. Don't take that personal. That's your battle. That's their own battle. So when I started moving that
Yeah.
way, bro, oh my God, that helped me because I was very egotistical, prideful to a fault, you know? And it was because
It
perception,
freed
how I
you.
gotta look, things of that nature. It freed me. Yeah, best way to put it. Yep.
You know, when people, almost like when you pray for others, like you see their hurt, their own insecurities and all that rubbing off on you. Like they're not telling you what their insecurity is, but they're putting that on you. And it's like, how do you react to that? Was there a point in time where you didn't see it that way? Because Ed is saying that he evolved. Like at one point it wasn't, he wasn't understanding that, or he didn't want to. Whereas now he sees it, he recognizes it, and it's the same for me in that aspect. Whereas like before, I'd be like, "Yo, f that," like out of my face. Now I understand it, and I feel bad for people, and I pray for them because I'm like, you're projecting. So, what are your thoughts on that?
First, I think evolution is a pivotal word in our lives as far as us being able to evolve. Because if you don't, imagine Ed wouldn't have evolved. Those moments that he heard somebody say this or that, he would have gone off of them. Well, however, if we would have stayed the same and not evolved, things would be different. And I think it comes from recognition of certain scenarios and experiences. And again, me being off from work or unemployed, let's use the right word, unemployed, has helped me sort of look at those things, right? And sort of helped me come to terms with who I am and how to better accept me and know the things that may bother me, because rejection is a tough thing. When I was listening to Ed talk about wanting to desahogar with somebody, and if that person rejects you, what's the likelihood of you going back, not necessarily to that person, but to anyone else after that, right?
Right.
It's that fear of rejection that can cause you hesitancy, and then
100%.
the emotions just build and build and build. So, and with another thing that Ed said, and I've heard this when I was working, because sometimes people talk to you crazy ways and you can't take it personal. And that's a tough thing to overcome. That's a tough thing to overcome, especially if you grew up, for example,
It
let's say you
is.
were bullied or you were mistreated and stuff like that. Growing up, for anyone to do it as an is a very hard thing to ignore sometimes, but it's emotions can drive you to make harsh decisions when you necessarily don't want to, aka blackout. you know, so it's a struggle, and it's not. And I don't. I would say people perhaps have some mastery, but there's a limit to everyone's line that they're willing to let one cross.
I agree.
Yeah.
Everybody has that
I
threshold,
think what crazy,
and
yeah,
some have it quicker than others.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to say, like, and to Bobby, to your point, and I preach this with students that I have one-on-ones with, but like when you react on emotion, that's a reaction. What the goal is a response. When you respond, that means you've taken some time. You know what I mean? And you respond is a difference from reaction. A lot of people get that conflicted because the reaction is just, oh, I feel this way, boom, that's how it's going
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Or do I take that time and respond accordingly. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean that's life or death right there. To be honest with you, not to be all dramatic and all that, but some people that reacted
Yeah.
instead of taking the time to respond made some poor decisions.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say too, based on what we were saying too, I think there's a lot of maturity that comes into place based on not blacking out, right? Because I'm pretty sure we've evolved. Pablo, I feel like that's your word, bro. Like we always talk about that, how there's seasons, there's chapters, there's points in our lives where hopefully we're progressing, right? We're getting better at things. But I think the main thing I think we're all seeking for is a sense of peace. And if we've gone through trauma, are we
100%.
choosing to heal from that trauma in our pursuit of peace, right? In the pursuit of happiness? But do you guys feel like, and I know we all have things from our past, and do you guys feel like you've gotten to points in your life where you have been able to heal from certain things and find peace within that? Or are you still on that journey to learn how to heal and then find peace?
I think we're always on that journey because feelings are so fickle, and I feel like as you get older, you start having to realize that you got to be accountable for what you're feeling. Like you're no longer in the game of, or there's an excuse of just rolling with a feeling. Like nah, like you have to look at that, right? And I think I've gotten better. I think I'm continuing. I'm continuously gonna grow. But every now and then, I'm still that person. You still are who you are, right? You still are who you are. Your natural instinct will come to you. The growth mindset is being like, okay, it's happening. I'm starting to think that. What is it really? What is it that's really getting me tight? What is it really? At the surface level, it's that parasite again. Okay, all right, I recognize you. We're not doing that, right? And it's just having that forethought, having that, like, okay, I know what my triggers are. I'm no longer allowing my triggers to control my reactions or my response, I should say. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, this is a trigger. I'm gonna recognize this, and then I'm gonna move like accordingly. It's like it reminds me of another book I read, like Atomic Habits. It's like there's just certain things that trigger you that you don't know. Like you're like, yo, why do I always think this thing? But when you start really peeling the layers back, something consistent what triggers that thinking. And then if you're not aware of that, then it's just like a roller coaster and snowball effect to something that can be negative. The trick is, the growth is recognizing that and then being able to be like, okay, I know what this is, and I know how I would react in my right mind. That's how I move. That's a mature piece. That's a maturation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I feel like I'm growing. I feel like every now and then I get back into that mode, but just being able to recognize it and being like, all right, this is a feeling. This will pass. It's a feeling. You can't control every feeling. You can't control every feeling. The
Yeah.
feelings are gonna come. You just gotta let it pass and respond. Don't react. Respond.
Yeah. Just to quickly add to that, I think the triggers or the things that cause us discomfort are sort of scars that are left over from that initial occurrence. They're just there to remind you and to acknowledge it, right? Because if you don't acknowledge it, then you can go or go towards a place again of that blackout situation without you're taking the time to really think about what's happening. You know, I am a big how would I say? My wife tells me that I'm impulsive, that I'm too quick to react. It doesn't have to be done right now. And is that response aspect and thinking about it, sometimes there's just a sense of urgency sometimes that you feel like you have to do it now, or else you'll never get it done. I don't know. But there's always something that causes that initial reaction that you feel like you have to get it done, or else the opportunity will be lost or whatever. So to get back
Huh?
to what you asked, and
No.
Anthony, there are things that I still struggle with.
Hello?
It's hard to sort of verbalize it because I don't think I've ever actually verbalized it before, but It's painful in that, and it's just, and it could be that it may not even be that. It's just the thought of it causes that pain, and so I've lived with that. Those words, they were last words that were said to me. So those were the words. See, they say, you see, I knew you loved me. Those were their last words to me. So that caused me to think this person all this time perhaps thought I'd never really cared for them or loved them. That's what I thought.
Yo, bro, that's
To know that they had that doubt,
wow.
it's painful, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's because it opens up shit. It opens up a world of thoughts, like so we, and it's crazy, Pablo, because you don't have to tell us who that was, but just our imagination, I'm pretty sure, is going everywhere. It could be your kids, it could be your mother, it could be so many different people, but regardless of who it is, it still stings because it's like, so now I loved you, so I've spent all this time, you know, 10 toes down for you, and it's tough. Like, damn, what wasn't, because it becomes not so much a victim mentality, but like, what was it that I wasn't doing right to show you that I loved you? Like, and that there's healing to be done there on just that alone, bro.
Yeah.
That's hardcore. Yeah, that's definitely hardcore. Like for me, fellas, like I come from a family that we get mad at each other, we won't talk for years, right? I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but like,
That's the
and
Dominican life right
That's
there.
my uncles.
That's
My
Dominican
uncles are like that.
relationships right there.
Yeah.
yeah,
My
bro, it's sad because I'm no better. So let's get that out in the open right now. Like, I'm no better, but as the years have gone on, I've tried to get better with that and making sure that, not that I patch things up, but like, if we're not gonna talk ever again, bro, I'ma at least give you a piece of my mind, and I'ma tell you if you were being, and I'm not gonna hold. I'm trying my best not to curse, but I can't talk unless I curse. So I'ma tell you if you're being a bitch. I'ma tell you if you're being an asshole. I'ma tell you what I feel, and hopefully, and obviously I'll be respectful when I have the conversation. I'm just trying to be a little bit humorous here, but hopefully once I tell you how I feel, we can move forward from there. And if we can't, then at least I know, and there's peace in that for me. I don't know if it's like the same thing for everybody else, but I'd rather not talk to somebody after we had a conversation where we're like, yo, we just can't mess with each other anymore. That's peace, because then I can move forward and that's not in the back of my mind anymore. But for me, there's a lot of healing that might not take place, and I'm making amends with that because it's things that I feel like is no longer even worth a conversation, right? So I'm like, I don't even want to have, it's too much time has gone by. Like, people are who they are, bro. Like, I love that thing that DMX said one time where he was just like, trust a snake to be a snake. Right?
Yeah,
Trust.
dog.
And I'm not saying that people in my life are snake. I'm just saying, if somebody tells you who they are, bro, believe them. You don't, like, I've always been a wishful and hopeful person that I'm like, oh, this person is gonna change. This person is different. We have to allow
And
people
that's
to be
on
who
you.
they are, and yeah, and then we also have to place them where they belong, right? And I have conversations with my sister all the time. I can have conversations with friends, and one thing about me, it's kind of repetitive in the relationships I've had. So it is a thing about me and the way I open up to people. But now I'm also in a place where it's like I'm more vocal with the way I feel about something. Like, if I feel like you were being messed up about something, I'm gonna say it. And wherever that, that lands, it lands. And if we're able to move forward from there and build and have a better bond because of it, then cool. And if not, then I'd rather cut ties right then and there. So what I'm trying to say, like, I'm no different in the sense of like our uncles or parents and stuff like that, where I cut ties very quickly because I don't like being hurt, bro, and being around people that are constantly gonna hurt you. I'm good with all that, bro. I'm at peace with being at peace and seeking that.
I think sometimes you got to give yourself grace as far as when somebody misunderstands the way you love. Like, I think we have to push ourselves in. If it's a person that we do indeed love, how do we, like, figuring out what it is for them? Because we could show love in what we think love is, but that may not come across the same way, right? But that doesn't mean that your intentions was bad. That doesn't mean any of that. It just means that We got to look outside of ourselves when it comes to loving that person. Does that make sense? Like something like, a lot of people like the trendy thing is like their love language. And that's like the best way to describe it. Like, what is it that, do you like words of affirmation? Do you like that more than a gift? There's some people that I definitely like that. You know what I mean? And as far as what you was talking about, but as far as meeting people where they're at and having those conversations, it all goes back to that statement of that's when you're able to not take it personally. Because you're like, that's who they are. That has nothing to do with me. I didn't make that happen. It's not the way that I'm moving that's making them move that way. That's just how they move, right? Like I have friends, and you said something too, like putting them in the correct bracket. I have friends that'll probably, bro. I say I got something popping, and they moving, right? But that'll be the same friend that you really can't trust with your girl, or anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like if like it's just different brackets. It be like that, right?
Nah, it's
Like,
true. It's
you'll go
true.
to war for me. You'll put yourself to death, but then at the same time, you can't control certain
You can't
urges
come
or
to the
whatever have
barbecue.
you. 'Cause you know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be different shit. You have some niggas that know how to take jokes. You go out, you have fun with them, but then you have the other ones that are looking for beef. You're like, I don't want to
Yeah,
go out with you.
yeah,
You're looking for
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
That don't mean
yeah.
you're not my
Yeah.
man. I'm just not having a good time with you. Cause that's not what I'm about. I'm about having a good time. I,
Yeah.
if I wanted to, I could find 4 or 5 people giving me a hard time. Why are you looking for it? Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
just like different
I
brackets and stuff like
yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, and I think the way you're talking to us, Ed, for sure, because it's true. Like you have to know your audience. Like it's almost like that saying, "Read the room." Like who and when can you have certain conversations? Who can you have around at certain points? Who you can't. You know what I mean? We all have a friend that push comes to shove, they'll go to war with for you and with you. But then that's not the same person that you could bring to your mom's house, because then they're looking around, seeing what opportunities arise. So it's reading the room, and it's something that I would say that I'm continuously trying to get better at. And I know for sake of time, we'll go ahead and Pablo, you have any thoughts on that before we start wrapping up?
Yeah, real quick. I tend to have this soft spot in me as far as finding or seeing the best in people as much as I can. Is different with the habitual line steppers, right? Those people you sort of have to obviously be polite and all that stuff and respectful, but those are the people that you choose not to want to be around with. And people that have really wronged you deliberately is like, how can you reconcile or even break bread? Not everybody's for everybody, yo.
That's a fact.
But those
That's a fact.
people that have brought good memories, and if you can find it sometimes in your heart, and if they are authentically trying to come back into your life from a perspective of peace and brotherhood or whatever other thing that connects you, for me, I'm the kind of person that will try to shit.
Right.
But everybody, you know how to move. You got to learn how to move. You can't move the same. You just can't move the same, right?
That's it.
And th-
That's
and
just
and
it.
that's a difficult journey to take moving forward, I would say.
You gotta appreciate the friends that could check more than one box, but that ain't the normal. That ain't norm. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that, they like some is like, yo, they like multitask. Like, no, it's my dog, right? But you gotta understand that, you know what I mean? So, but the way I've ever navigated life, and I stay is me safe too. Like I could be in a room full of wolves, and you know what I'm saying? Because I just know how to navigate in that space. It's not that I'm the super tough guy neither. I can talk, and we're gonna connect in a different way. You know what I mean? But that don't mean
Yeah.
I want to be around your ass a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? In that space, and that's cool. But if I'm bringing you around, there's certain people that you're gonna come into my environment. I'm not gonna go into your environment so much to speak because we're not. I could probably connect with you more over here. I'm not gonna go over there.
Right.
I'm good. You know what
Right.
I'm
Right. Right.
saying? I don't know if that made sense, but yeah,
No, I
I
hear
hear
you.
what you're
I hear you.
saying,
100%.
Yeah.
Pablo, for sure. Yeah.
I think it's also the one thing that's beautiful about being, excuse me, from New York is if you pick up, things from the streets and things like that. Like just growing up in New York City, you pick up a sixth sense where you're a little bit more fluid than the average person, and that allows you to carry on in conversations in different settings. And I think that's super super helpful, and I think it's helped me just being here in Florida tremendously because I can adapt. I think that's our New Yorker
Oh
ways
yeah.
where you can adapt wherever you're at.
New York go
But fellas,
OT, it's superpowers, bro. Bro.
yeah,
For real.
but
OT? Forget about
I appreciate you guys jumping on the show today. Ed, I want to give you the opportunity to let the people know your handle so they can follow you, more or less what they can expect from what you're putting out, because I know I see you. So be offline. I was telling Ed, like, I see what he's doing. I watch his videos. Sometimes I come back to them because I'm like, he gets a little deep on it. He gets a little poetic. I don't know if that's his thing, in getting poetic, but like he is dropping gems. He's saying things that are uplifting for people. And I love that. I love being around that positivity and around good energy. So I thank you for that. And please let the people know your handle and what they could expect from you.
Okay. My handle is at EG Therapy 180. And what you could expect from the page is, I speak a lot of topics that we just spoke about, but it's just kind of just my perspective on things and what age has taught me, and just trying to bring enlightenment. And I love engaging. So if there's something that anybody has a question about, I'm more than open to talk DMs on the page, wherever at it, man. But yeah, EG Therapy 180 on IG. All my handles are the same. And yeah, man, this was great, man. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Thank you for
It was a
being
pleasure
on.
meeting you, man.
Yo, Pablo, for
Pablo,
real.
before
Definitely, my brother. Yeah.
And any Ed, before you also go to anything you want to leave off to the people, anything any message that you want to send to people out there, go right ahead if you have anything.
Man, on the spot. Yo, move now. Yo, move with love, yo. There you go. Move with love, man. When your intentions come from love, you can't go any wrong. If it's rejected, don't take it personal. Keep it moving. But when you move from love, you good.
Appreciate you guys for being on, and I love the conversation. I think we were able to put some real things on the table to get an understanding for what we go through as men. And I think there's a lot of, things that even women can relate to, things that we all go through that's no different. We're all walking life trying to do the best that we can. And there's a lot of things that we're trying to learn and pick up and tweak, And I always say, like, I'm always bobbing and weaving. And that's what I think life is about, learning how to bob and weave. And if you get knocked down, you come back stronger. I'm not going to give you the Rocky line, but you guys get where I'm going. But I appreciate all of
Yeah,
you.
100%.
And tune in every first Thursday of the month. We'll have this live session of Real Men, Real Talk. This is episode 45, closing out the Mr. Madrid show. This is Mr. Madrid. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace.